I think the breeder should and whelper should definitely research the common health conditions in these breeds. And there's things that we have now that we didn't have 10 years ago. And medicine is always changing.
Hello, welcome to Bully Girl Magazine Podcast. I'm your host, Gigi, and today I'm with Ashley and Angry Bird. Hello, Ashley. How are you today?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much. And thank you for joining. You're a licensed veterinary technician.
Yep.
So
yes, I am.
What is that like? How did that career come into your life?
Well, I've always loved animals since I was able to walk. I knew I wanted to do something with animals, but I was not sure if I could handle it because anything sad that has to do with animals breaks my heart. But I thought if I could save the ones I can or help save the ones I can, that would just fulfill my heart. So I went to college, majored in something completely different, psychology. And then I went to veterinary technician school for 2 years. And then I had to take a New York State board test to get my license. And I've been a licensed veterinary technician for the past 15 years.
Oh my, that's a lot of experience. Congratulations. And
Thank
I feel
you.
like psychology and, it complements what you're doing, right? Because you have to deal with many difficult moments.
Yes, I have to, go in the rooms with the doctor when we have sad news for the clients. If it's a poor prognosis, meaning it's the outcome for the patient isn't good. So you have to learn how to talk to people. A lot of people have the assumption that we play with puppies and kittens all day. And that couldn't be furthest from the truth. It's like a human hospital. We do everything for the babies,
Yeah, that's so I really admire your work. So tell us about yourself, a little bit about your background. You studied psychology. You are a licensed vet technician. How is one day in your life in this career?
Okay. Well, I am also a full-time mom to a beautiful 4-year-old girl. And I work as a veterinary technician. I'm going to be going back full-time when she's in school. And I also do modeling on the side, which is how Bully Girl Magazine, LeVar, found me. I do a lot of tattoo magazines. My husband is a tattoo artist. He's one of the best on Long Island. As you can see, I am covered in tattoos.
I
And
love
we
them.
traveled a lot. My husband and I to different tattoo conventions. I've been in numerous tattoo magazines. And so I'm a full-time mom. I get to say a model and a licensed vet tech. But a day of my life is really hanging out with my daughter since that's job never ends, I also have 2 dogs and a cat at home. So that's another job in and of itself.
Which type of dogs? Which dogs do
I
you
have
have?
a Boston Terrier, which is very similar to the French Bulldog, actually. Both of them are the French Bulldog and the Boston Terrier are the brachycephalic breed, meaning pushed in snouts. So her name is Frankie, and I also have a Great Dane who is actually very ancient. He's the lifespan of Great Dane is 6 to 8 years, and he's 13 years old.
Oh my,
Yeah.
13. Wow.
Yeah.
So, well, that's beautiful. So what are some of the most rewarding aspects of your job as a vet tech?
The most rewarding ones is when I have a sick patient on death's door, and the blood tests aren't getting better. And then one day you come in and the blood tests are almost normal and you see the dog or cat is eating. For instance, leptospirosis is a very bad illness transmitted by the urine of squirrels, raccoons, different vermin out there. And it could simply be transmitted if a dog steps in a wet puddle, licks its paw, it could be transmitted that way, that easily. There is a vaccine for it, but the vaccine only covers 5 strains, whereas leptospirosis has 15 or more different strains. But it's better that they get the vaccine. And we had a case where the dog was in the hospital for a month, and she was a pit bull. She was beautiful. She's such a sweet dog, and she went into kidney and liver failure. That's what leptospirosis does. It targets the liver and the kidneys. And she was not getting better. And then the doctor wasn't giving up. Nobody was giving up. And then the next month later, we came in. She was eating. She looked brighter. It was just amazing. So that is, the best thing in the world when you can save the ones that you can.
Yeah, it's beautiful to be a part of that process and doing all that effort and seeing that she gets better. Like you bond to them, right?
Oh, and this one particular dog, it was so special to me. Like, she was a wonderful dog, wonderful, wonderful dog.
I love that. I love that. So, well, this was like a great example of our next question. What are the challenges you face in your job? How do you handle them?
When How do I handle them? It really depends on the case. If someone brings in a puppy and you have to tell the client with diarrhea that they just got from a pet store, and you have to go back and tell the owner that the puppy has parvovirus when there's a vaccine for it. Depending on the severity and the infection, a lot of times these puppies die from parvovirus, and there is a vaccine for it. That is the hardest, losing a patient. And owner compliance is also another difficult one. We had a friend that I can give you an example. We had a French bulldog that was playing with their at home with their housemate, and it was a French bulldog and an English bulldog, and English bulldogs are really, really big. Jumped on the Frenchie, and the Frenchie hurt its back, and the dog couldn't walk in the rear. And my boss loves, I mean, she loves taking care of these animals. Money is really no object when it comes to saving an animal. The dog was, if we got him wheels, the dog would have been set. He needed to have his bladder manually expressed, and the owners, there was no financial issue with the owners. They just refused to put the dog in wheels. The dog was 2. And I bonded very much with this little Frenchie, and the owners wanted to euthanize, and we kept trying everything in our power to prevent this from happening, like even signing the rights over. He refused to do it, and the owner still signed the papers for the euthanasia, and because he didn't want to deal with the dog in a wheelchair. And that made me super angry. I was the one that had to put the IV catheter in for the euthanasia, and the dog knew. The Frenchie knew. He crawled right in between my legs and just looked up at me, and there was nothing I could do. So the owners really, and that one, when you don't have owner compliance or the owner's willing to help their dog, it's horrible to me. And that's what makes my life and my job very difficult.
Yeah, that must have been really, really hard to do.
You
And
bond with a lot of the patients. You bond, and we also offer boarding where I work. And when the certain dogs come in for boarding, you see them and they get so excited. I had a pit bull, beautiful. His name was Power. He looked like a rhino. He was a solid 200 pounds, and he was wonderful. And then I didn't see him for a couple months, and he came in, and he looked like an emaciated dog. And I learned that he had cancer all throughout his gastrointestinal system, and he was only 7 or 8 years old. And it broke my heart. So as rewarding as my career is, it's also very heartbreaking at the same time.
yeah, like you have to be like in a very strong place to deal with all of that emotionally, I mean. Do you have to like, do you study? Do you have to keep up with the latest developments? How is that in your area?
Yeah. So my license is good for every 3 years. I have to renew it every 3 years. But within that 3 years, I have to attend continuing education courses, whether it's online or in person. And a lot of times they have weekend conferences. They have them all over the world. You can go to Fiji and attend a conference, and make it a vacation too.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do some wet labs. I attended a conference in Florida, and I did a dentistry wet lab, which practiced nerve blocks and extractions of teeth and different techniques, newer techniques. And they offer books, that you could buy. They have a bunch of cool things for the practice that you can purchase there, as well as different lectures that you sign up for. And because veterinary technicians need 24 credits at the end of every 3 years.
Oh, okay. So you do have to like every 3 years you have to like get into it again and like to catch
Yep.
up with things. Is it a very like does it change a lot in 3 years or is it like how
Um,
does it evolve?
the equipment, like there's more state of the art equipment when it comes to veterinary medicine. There's things that we have now that we didn't have 10 years ago.
Mm,
And medicine is always changing. New vaccines for osteoarthritis, for instance, that was recently approved by the FDA. They were using it in Europe, but it wasn't approved here in the United States to help with osteoarthritis in the dog and the cat, because all we had were nonsteroidal anti-inflammatories. But if you have a dog or cat with liver or kidney problems, you can't give that anti-inflammatory because you could put them in the hospital for that.
mhm.
So that's something I learned about. There's just so many, because medicine's always changing, not just for people, but for animals too.
Right, right. So what advice would you give someone considering a career as a vet tech?
You have to be strong emotionally, mentally, and physically. I mean, I'm lifting up 85-pound dogs, you know.
Mhm.
You have to know how to handle a cat that does the alligator rolls, you know, fractious animals come in, nasty dogs come in sometimes. I would honestly also recommend to somebody that they also have some sort of other financial stability. Unfortunately, veterinary technicians are not paid a lot of money, not like an RN, for instance, whereas we do the same thing that an RN can do on a person, on an animal.
Mm.
We take blood, we do x-rays, we fill medication, we're in surgery, we're monitoring anesthesia, we're intubating, we're doing all of that. And yet we don't even get paid. The average is, oh my God, like 28,000 a year, I believe, in New York. I don't know if that's changed. I haven't looked it up recently, but I would recommend to somebody that they have some sort of other financial stability under their belt, because we're unfortunately underpaid.
Mm. That's so sad, and you do such an important job. Um, so you have a bully, and do you have a favorite bloodline?
I don't. As far as the bully breed goes, I think it's a wonderful breed. I hate the stigma that they have against them. Their reputation is terrible. And it's not the dog. I rather deal with a pit bull than a fractious cat. I think the American Staffordshire Terrier, which is the actual name, they're just wonderful, wonderful dogs, and they're good with children. I love all of them. I really couldn't tell you my favorite.
Mhm. I love them too. So, what do you think are some common misconceptions about the bully breed?
That they're aggressive, they're bad with children, that their jaws lock and you can't get them open, um, that they're not nice dogs, and it's the people that raise them. You know, there's so many. You know, there's a lot of crossbreeding a pit bull with I don't know, a chow chow, for example. They won't live a good life. You know, and a lot of people don't take into consideration with, you know, some pit bulls have a flatter face than others, and the breathing is already constricted as well. So if you breed a old English bulldog with a French bulldog, you have to take into consideration the amount of health issues that dog is going to have. It's There's just way too many stigmas happening with this breed. 20 years ago, it was the Doberman Pinscher. 20 years before that, it was the Rottweiler. 40 years before that was the German Shepherd. So all dogs, unfortunately, have some sort of reputation. But it's the aggressive. People think, automatically assume a pit bull is going to eat your little dog or bite your child in the face. That's the most common thing. People see you coming with a pit bull and they cross the street.
Yeah, yeah, that's a big stereotype, and something that it's very important to talk about, because it's not like that. It's not like the person in that is in care of the dog needs to like educate them, right?
Right. And, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still an animal. Any animal, any dog, regardless of the breed, can bite a child in the face. Any bigger dog can grab a little Maltese and shake it and break its neck. You know, and the owners have to really do their research and educate themselves on what they have to do in order to have a good dog, regardless of the breed. Because if they
Mhm.
don't, at the end of the day, the dog ends up paying the price. If the dog attacks a child, what's going to happen? Dog's going to get put to sleep. So it's due to owners' ignorance that this happens.
Yeah, absolutely. So you have two dogs and one cat. What type of diet do you keep your dogs on throughout the year?
My Great Dane had all his life until up until recently was on Purina One Smart Blend for large breed. He's a large breed. He's a giant breed, actually. He had to be on that since he was a puppy, large breed puppy, because of the way they grow. They grow incredibly fast, and they don't stop growing until they're about 2.5 years old. As he's gotten older, you know, he's got skin problems, so I put him on a hypoallergenic diet like potato and rabbit by Royal Canin. Royal Canin, I think, is the best food you could get for your dog or cat. My Boston
Hmm.
Terrier is a little porker. She will eat anything, but I keep her on the hypoallergenic because she's very sensitive with food allergy. So I have her on the potato and rabbit, or potato and venison, potato and duck, something by Royal Canin that's hypoallergenic.
And how many times a day do you feed your dogs?
They get fed twice a day. Tiny, my Great Dane, gets about 3 to 4 cups twice a day, with like half a rotisserie chicken. And Frankie only gets about a quarter cup with a little bit of chicken, because, you know, she had an ACL injury, which is like this knee injury, the sports injury. And if that happens, if they have the ACL surgery, there's a 50-50 chance that the other leg or other knee might go as well. So I want to keep her
Oh,
more on the thinner side, if you know what I mean.
yeah. So I was laughing because your Great Dane is called Tiny.
Yep.
Great name. I love that
Yeah.
name.
Thank you.
So how do you keep your dogs in shape? How do you do that?
Frankie the Boston, she is so full of energy. She can play all day, every day. So really, just playing fetch in the back. My Great Dane, he naturally is just a thin, tall dog. He never was out of shape. In his prime, we would walk him all the time. He would run. He'd get the zoomies. I don't walk them anymore. I have to take both of them. But Tiny, unfortunately, has very bad rear legs. He is 13. Let's not forget. So if I take the Boston, he gets upset that I don't take him. So I try
Mm.
and get him to come out in the backyard, and he just lays down in the backyard now. So I'm
Oh,
hoping this isn't going to be my last summer, but with him, but it's not looking too it's not looking promising.
yeah. Well, but he's had a great life. Have you ever showed your dogs?
No,
Okay.
no, and
Okay.
even if I wanted to, I wouldn't. Like Tiny is a blue marrow Great Dane, and they don't show blue marrows for whatever reason. They usually show the
Oh,
fawn ones or the harlequin. The fawns are the tan ones with the black muzzle, and the harlequins are the ones that look like a black and white cow. And they won't show a neutered dog. They only
oh, okay.
show intact. And I did get him neutered.
Mm-hmm. So, what do you think is some of the difficult things for people to overcome in the bully game, in the bully breed?
Difficult things for them to overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. I don't
As
know.
for breeders, whelpers,
Difficult things to overcome. Um. How? I mean,
stereotypes could be one of them, right? Like we
what's
were
that?
mentioning before. Stereotypes, like these stereotypes of them being aggressive, could be one of them, for example.
Yeah. And again with the especially French bulldogs and bulldogs with when they're whelping, a lot of times they need C sections because the
Mm,
pelvis is not wide enough in the breed for them to come naturally. A lot of times, if they try and whelp naturally, they get stuck in the canal.
yeah.
That's one of the difficult things that I would imagine a breeder has to face or a whelper. And with breathing constrictions, these guys are very, one thing I look at when even for the Boston Terrier, when I was looking for a new Boston Terrier, I look at the nares, which are the two little holes in the nose. And a lot of times, sometimes you'll see they're very closed. If you see that as a puppy, the breeder or the whelper should know, okay, this dog might need a future surgery to open up the nasal passages. And the reason why they overheat and make the sound is because they have what's in the back of their throat. You have the hard palate, which is above, and then the elongated soft palate that flaps. And
Mm,
a lot of times that happens in puppies, and it can be fixed, it can be corrected. I think the breeder should and whelper should definitely research the common health conditions in these breeds. In the Frenchie, the Bulldog, English Bulldog, Boston Terrier, if you will. I'm biased though when it comes to the Boston Terrier, and even some pit bulls. Some pit bulls, not as common, but mostly for these guys.
mm-hmm. Yeah. So, did you have any mentors, or do you mentor someone? Do you look up to someone in the vet tech world, or?
I was trained by an awesome licensed vet tech who was in the field for years before me. At my first job at the first hospital, she trained me, and I could not have asked for a better trainer. Her name was Shauna, and she was very hands on. And in my field, that's the way you learn. You learn by performing the techniques yourself. You can read a book. Anybody can read a book, but can you perform these tasks? So she was very hands on with me, and I'll always be thankful to her. And I do some training. I helped train my other friend who went to vet tech school. I helped him study for his boards. I enjoy teaching. If I see that somebody has the drive and the will to learn, I have no problem teaching and training. Everyone has a different technique to tape in a catheter. Everyone has a different technique to put a bandage and a splint on. But it doesn't hurt to learn from someone. They might show you something cooler or something easier to do. I genuinely enjoy teaching. But if I don't see you have the drive or the will, I will not bother with you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, tell us about one of your main goals for this year. Any upcoming projects?
One of my main goals for any upcoming project. I don't have really any upcoming projects right now. The shoot today with LeVar for issue 111 of Bully Girl is actually my first shoot back from since I had my daughter 4 years ago. Being a mom is very
Congratulations.
hard. It takes up
Yeah.
all of my time. I would like to shoot more. I feel like I'm kind of rusty. So I do want to get back into that game. I guess you could say, like, because today was my first time back. I kind of came out of retirement. And I love doing shoots in the summer. So I do want to, oh, my earring, but I do want to come back and shoot. So that's one of my main goals. I want to do more shoots.
It must feel nice to be back, right? Like, do you
Yeah.
enjoy doing photo shoots?
I do. Yeah, I do very much. I've been doing it for a long time since I met my husband, and he was deep into the tattoo industry. So yeah.
I see you have a lot of tattoos. Do you have any that we can see any of your favorite one or one special one that you want?
This arm is all Game of Thrones because that's one of my favorite TV shows.
I love that.
Yeah.
Tell me your favorite character. Any favorite characters from Game of Thrones?
Targaryen, of course, Mother of Dragons. I have her up here, and I have all the dragons up here. I have her portrait.
I love that.
I have all the dragons up there. And then I have a white tiger somewhere in my arm. I'm all over. I have a unicorn,
I love that. I love that.
Thank you.
Okay. So tattoos must be one of them, but which other hobbies or interests do you take part in?
Aside from getting tattooed, what else? I mean, it's really, I had more before I had my daughter. It's really just playing with my daughter. I also knit blankets. Actually, I've discovered that I'm good at knitting blankets. I'm making these chunky blankets now. So I never thought I would enjoy knitting, but I do it all with my hands. I don't know how to use the sticks. I do it all with my hands, and I'm actually quite good at it. And I've sold a few. So I do enjoy doing that in my spare time.
I love that. Yeah, I saw that you have like a big strand of wool and you do it with your hands. They are beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So, last but not least, and today you did a photo shoot with Bully Girl magazine. What do you think of Bully Girl magazine?
I think it's great. One thing that I like about it the most, well, first of all, the gear that they sell, the shirts, the hats, I think they're great. The style is great. I think it's really informative for those people who want to get into breeding, especially for this specific breed, because they have articles from dog shows, from different breeders, and it gives the information. And I think it could really help somebody learn and educate themselves on what is important when they join the breeding game, because it's easier said than it is done. So they have people in their magazines from different areas of the country who breed, and I feel like it could just really help people. It's informative, and and the dogs. I mean, just who doesn't want to look at pictures of cute dogs?
Please. I love that. Yeah. We love Bully Girl magazine.
Yes.
And
the owner of Bully Girl magazine is awesome. He's very nice. And I've known him for a few years now. Time just goes by so fast. Very nice guy, and he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does. We love him, and we also love Angry Bird. Please, she's so well behaved.
Yeah,
she's so cute.
She was so
It was great. It was great having you, Ashley, here. Thank you so much for joining. It was great.
You very much. It was lovely to meet you.
Lovely for us too. Lovely for me to meet you too. And if you're there watching, thanks for joining. Don't forget to follow Bully Girl Mag on Instagram. Visit BGM Warehouse to get some awesome Bully Breed apparel. And don't forget to purchase the latest issue of Bully Girl magazine. See you next time.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Take care. Thank you, Ashley.
You're welcome.